All right, so we are recording. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the State of Perry tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about our school report card rating and the strategies that we have in place for improvement. Parents who are on tonight, you all should have received a letter in the mail this week, letter with your students on Monday. We sent home a letter. That letter is on our website as well. It's a requirement. But we wanted to meet with you and kind of go over our school report card and designation and the things that we plan to do in order to move us forward. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool beans. Here we are. I want to thank you too. We have Executive Director Ms. Inga Ferguson on with us tonight. We also have several of our staff members on tonight and some other district people. Thank you guys for joining us. So a little bit about our demographics. We have 313 students, 42 certified employees, 15 classified employees. And here's our makeup. We're about 95, almost 96% African American, 1.9, two or more races, Latino 1.6, 0.6 white, 0.3 other. Our special ed population here at W.A. Perry is 19.2%. And we'll talk about that a little later. It's a little high for a school our size. Our poverty index is 97.1. W.A. Perry has the highest poverty index of the schools in our district. Also, we did a little digging at the state. And when we looked at the poverty index, when they rank the middle schools in the state, we are in the top 5. So our poverty index is high. Our limited English proficient, we don't have a subgroup. We don't have any, very little limited English proficient. So you won't see that subgroup on our school report card when we look at all of our subgroups. And our 45-day average daily membership is about 305. And we'll talk about attendance and the work that we've done with that. So I want you to look at historically where we've been with our school report card. In 2018, we had an average report card of 47. Average means that you meet the profile of the South Carolina graduate. We worked really, really hard that year. We set some goals for ourselves. One of the things that we do extremely well here at W.A. Perry is growth. Sometimes our kids come in and they have some deficits and they may be working 2-3 grade levels behind. And our team does an amazing job of growing kids. So achievement is just how many kids actually pass SE Ready in reading and math. Preparing for success is 6th grade science. How many kids pass the science test? Student progress is how well we grew the students. Did they grow from the previous year to this year? And as you can see, that's been a relative strength for us. Student engagement is what it was called. And that's how kids see school, how well they like school, how well things are going at school. That is now called the School Climate Survey. In 2019, we had a theme that we wanted to level up. And as you could see, that particular year, we went to a good report card, which was a 49. A good report card means that you exceed the profile of the South Carolina graduate. We were very happy. COVID year came, and we did not take the test in 2020 and 2021. We came back in 22, and we had an average report card. We dropped just a little. Average means still that you meet the profile of the South Carolina graduate. So you can see the areas and how we did. Once again, you see student progress was holding pretty steady because we do a good job of growing our kids. The School Climate Survey changed in 22. And so you get certain points for how certain questions are answered. So that kind of changed the climate survey somewhat. Previously, you got points kind of based on the percentage of students that took that survey. So we were always pushing. We really wanted to get either 100%, or we definitely wanted to get at least 98% of our students taking that survey. And so in 2023, when we got the results back, you can see that we took a dip. We went from an overall score of 42 to an overall score of 32, which placed us in the below average category. Our academic achievement dropped, preparing for success, which was sixth grade science drop. But where we took a significant drop in what we do really, really well was in student progress. We still scored average, as we had scored average the year before, but we were now at the bottom of the average ranking instead of being at the top of that average rating. And then you can see our school climate, we took a dip. And so people have asked, and what do I think happened? Can I put it on one particular thing? And I can't. I knew in May when we took the SC Ready test and we saw some preliminary data that came back, I saw some drops for us. And one of the significant drops that we did have was in math. And so math is definitely a focus for us this year. A lot of our kids didn't grow in that area as they had before. And so we knew we had some work to do coming in. You may ask, well, how far were you from being average again? We needed 4 more points to be average. Average starts at 36, and we had a 32. And so we was not far from it, but this is where we landed. So my team and I are back this year, and we are determined to be back where we were, average, good. We even have our sights, could possibly have our sights set on excellent, but we definitely want to get back to average of where we were and potentially the good. So let me tell you some of the things that we are doing here at W.A. Perry to help move us forward. So we have partnered with Dr. Kathy Lassinger. Richland One has been a visible learning district, and she's worked with principals. She's worked with other schools. We've contracted her for 5 sessions. We've had 1 session. She will be here again next week. So our ELA math and SPED teachers are going to work with her on success criteria and learning intentions. We have Avid PD, we have observations, and we've employed a strategy of the month. We have Early Bird, which is offered Monday through Friday. We have content tutoring that's held on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So if students need assistance, they can stay after school from 4 to 5, work with a teacher, and get some tutoring. We have focus tutoring, which will start at the end of the month on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That is a group of students that we're highly focused on, working with some skill deficits in some areas that we will be working with those students as well. In January, we have what we call focus days. We have a special bell schedule where we begin to work on the test-taking strategies, some of those standards that kids may not have done well on based upon our benchmark data, and we'll begin to have those focus days. We have lunch and learn tutoring sessions. Some of our teachers and admin are pulling kids doing lunch and working with them, helping them with their homework, any missing assignments. Eagle Recovery starts in January for students who fail a class in quarter 1, class in quarter 2. They'll be able to attend content recovery so that they could recover that, make sure they cover that grade. And it's about the grade, but we're also wanting them to cover that content because they'll see it again on state testing. We afford our teachers the opportunity to have content planning where they can come together, time set aside, where they can come together in content teams, ELA, math, science, social study, and talk and plan and develop assessments and plan out those strategies or to talk about those standards and how they're going to teach them. We do those in August. We have one coming up in December, and we'll have another one in March. We looked at our lesson plan template this year. We needed to make some changes to add some of the language that comes from visible learning, learning intentions and CES criteria. Talk about the assessments and pacing and higher order thinking questions. In PLCs, we want to utilize vertical articulation and plan those engaging lessons. Our kids have to be engaged. We have to make sure that it's real life and it's relevant for them. Gone are the days where kids just sit and get. We have to make sure that there's engagement involved and that we look at those power standards, those things that kids absolutely have to know. I excel in academic enrichment. It is a computer-based program that we use in academic enrichment. Every student has an academic enrichment class. It is based on their STAR reading score. We sent home letters explaining their STAR score. Teachers have had conferences with them. We've set goals for the next administration. But we use the IXL program in academic enrichment. And we'll have Ms. Payton perhaps talk a little bit more about academic enrichment. We're administering and analyzing CFAs through Mastery Connect. That's a big one for us this year. We've always had it. We've used it to some degree, but there's a greater focus now on making sure that we're looking at those common formative assessments and analyzing that data and being able to adjust our instruction. And then we take the district benchmarks. That data is able to tell us somewhat what students know, what standards they're having difficulty with as we prepare for state testing in May. We talked about us having a pretty significant high special ed population, but we branched off into inclusion maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and this year we have inclusion in 7th grade ELA, and we have it in 8th grade ELA and math. That's been very beneficial for us. We feel like we grew significantly a little bit last year because of inclusion and how it has worked to have both teachers in the room. In SPED, we want to watch our numbers and how we identify students who may need special education services. We want to make sure that our tier 1 instruction is solid, that it is good. We want to make sure that we're able to reduce the students who are in tier 3, have some accountability for sharing those resources with general ed and special ed teachers when we're returning from conferences, have some collaborative coaching. The district has employed Stetson and Associates. They work with many of the schools here in the district, and they're working with us on inclusion strategies to help our students who are receiving services. And we feel like students do better when they hear that information from the content teacher. So to the extent possible, we really want them to be in the general ed classroom. There's a program that teachers use in special ed called Goldbook. It's really, really good. We've asked our teachers to print and share those resources with general education teachers so they have access to those resources as well. Beginning in January 2024, we've employed 3 retired educators, and they're going to be coming in 15 to 20 hours a week, working with small groups, tutoring students who are in special ed, because that is a underperforming subgroup of ours. Prior to COVID, we were moving that subgroup. We were having great growth, but we took a dip with the COVID years. And so we're still trying to bounce back from that COVID ditch that many schools find themselves in. And so we're excited about the opportunity for these educators to come in and work with our students, and they're excited as well. Here in the district, we take several surveys. We have taken a PASS survey, which is administered to all Title I schools. It's looking at students' perceptions of school. We just recently took the Studer survey, asking kids how they feel about school. And then we have a People Bench survey that our staff took in May. We're analyzing all those results, and we're going to talk about them and share them and have some conversations with students, conversations with guidance counselors. Because when our students take this survey in May for the report card or in April, we really want them to know that a lot of the things that they have concerns about that we are addressing, have been addressing. And so we want to hear their voice. And so we're going to have those conversations in our monthly town halls with them about their perception. And I'll be honest with you, some of the things that they share that they're concerned about is school lunch and food. They feel overall, they feel safe in school, but they are concerned about some things, some bullying, and just the social and physical environment of the school and kids getting along with each other. And we continue to work on those relationships. You may hear your kid come home and say something about a restorative circle. In the morning time, we tell kids that drama is so lame. Are you stuck in some drama and you just can't seem to get out? Let's have a restorative circle. We're trying to get our kids to have conversations. Let's talk out our issues, and let's not argue, let's not fight, but let's see if we can come to some resolutions. We continue to have our PBIS celebrations. PBIS is positive behavioral interventions and support. And so we tell the kids that it really pays to behave. We honor those kids who have no referrals, who are doing what they're supposed to do. Kids earn PBIS bucks, and they're able to go to the PBIS store. PBIS store is open this week. And so attendance celebrations, we continue to recognize those students who come to school. We had a high chronic absenteeism rate. The previous year it was 58.6. We were able to get it down to 51%. And our goal this year, I think, is 46%. We want to continue to reduce chronic absenteeism, and we want our kids to come to school every day. We have an Eagle of the Month celebration. We have academic celebrations. Every student in our school has a CAP advocate. It's called Cohort Advocate Program. We started this program about 3 years ago. And so every kid has an advocate. We have it built into our schedule where we meet with our students. We check in with our students. Even when we don't have our meetings, we encourage them when it comes to grades, when it comes to if they're having some issues outside of the classroom. We've developed those relationships. We keep our kids until they leave school. So for instance, I had a 6th grade group last year. They're now 7th grade. I will keep them through 8th grade, and when they leave, I'll begin with a new 6th grade cohort. This is important for relationship building. And so we are proud. We have several mentoring programs. We have the 100 Black Men. We have 100 Black Women. We have the Perry 100. And we have other groups of individuals who come in and work with our kids. And just probably 2 days ago, I got 2 emails of people who have been cleared by the volunteer office, and they want to come in and volunteer and mentor. So we're happy about that. We have our Employee of the Month celebrations and other staff culture builders. Our teachers and staff also taking a survey at the end of the year in terms of how we're doing and whether they feel like they're being supported in the school. So it's an overview of the things that we are doing here at W.A. Perry Middle School. And so if I could go back and just talk about the loss that we had, we are rebounding. We're coming out of the COVID ditch. Some of it still exists. I think we're beginning to see some of that from elementary school, but we have the best team ever here at W.A. Perry. And I tell people, we offer so much for our students to be successful here at W.A. Perry Middle School. And we're just asking for everyone to take advantage of that, to work side by side with the school, work along with us so that all our kids can be successful. I'll go back to this slide and just talk about our history. We feel like we can get back to to having an average or good report card. Our teachers are here, they're working, they're committed. We have a very strong admin team. We've been together. We're going into our 8th year together. And so we have everything in place. And I feel very confident that we are going to be successful in May when we take state testing again. Ms. Ferguson, if you are on, would you like to add anything? Is she still on? I can't see. Miss Payton, is Miss Ferguson still on?
Yes, she's still on.
Okay.
Miss Ferguson? Maybe she's distracted.
Okay. All right. Miss Payton, anything that you might want to add? Just that's my presentation. Anything that you may want to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Anything, Miss C. Brown or Miss Kelly and Mr. Sayers, if you guys are on anything, social work, my parenting liaison, Miss Argrove.
Not at this time.
Okay. This meeting, if you had parents, if you have any questions related to the report card, please unmute yourself and you can ask those questions. I would say if there is an issue that's specific to your child or grade level, that we schedule a conference and we have a conversation about that in that format. But please, if you have any questions related to the report card or anything that we presented tonight, please unmute yourself and we'll answer those questions.
Dr. Cochran, this is Mrs. Mender. Are we doing cross curriculum as far as teaching towards that specific standard for science?
Miss Kidd, are you on, or Miss Spencer? I think I saw Miss Kidd.
Yes, ma'am, I'm on.
One more time, Miss.
Hey, Miss Kidd.
Hello.
I was asking, are we teaching the cross curriculum as far as either science and reading or science and math together, pairing with that particular teacher in order to teach for that standard or prepare for the test?
Yes, ma'am. We actually do a lot of reading and a lot of math in my science classroom. We've paired with our math teachers, and every Friday we're doing, we call it Math Friday, and we do Desmos calculations. So I began teaching them about a month ago how to use their online calculator. And so that's our do now. For the first 10 to 15 minutes, we work through calculations. We do some together, we do some independently, and they work in partners. And they've come to kind of get a good feel for working with the calculator. And I think they seem more confident. And even their math teacher, she's very appreciative, and she says she's noticed a difference with the assignments that she gives for Desmos in the classroom. And also reading and writing. I do a lot of journal writing and quick writes and other avid strategies for my do nows and just with our science curriculum in general.
Thank you. As a parent, what is it that I can do to help you?
I'm just periodically checking in. I know we have the parent portal accessible to all our parents, and just, asking students about any assignments that you may notice are missing. Sometimes, we don't go ahead and put zeros in. We might give students extra time during the class to make those assignments up, but we still might note that there's an assignment by putting the name or, marking it with the orange. If you see an orange square, that means that assignment is missing. But just periodically checking in. And students like to say they never have work, but there's always something that they can do within Freckle, Alex, Progress Learning. So just making sure that they're not falling behind on those tasks that are simple, but if they take advantage of the time, they're still not going to get to them, which will hurt them in the long run.
And Ms. Mentor, I saw that you put a comment that you like IXL. If he could do his.
I used to teach IXL in Michigan. So the thing I love most about IXL is the kids get to interact with it more, and it makes them want to. I had one student who didn't read well in second grade, and he loved IXL because they broke everything down to him, and he got to click on the little spaces where it explained it to him step by step. So that's what I love about IXL, but it's just the students themselves who have to take advantage of it.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what I was going to say. To take advantage, you have a computer at home. He can continue to work on his Alex at home, IXL, check Power School for his assignments, encourage him to read. We ask our kids to read at least 30 minutes a night, stay in communication with teachers, be actively involved, and you are, and we appreciate that. And just staying in contact with the teachers. If there's an assignment or a standard that you may not understand, reach out to the teachers. They're great about making sure that you understand it too, so you can help him at home. And I would just say, just hold your baby, hold him accountable, and let him know that we are here. We want the absolute best for him. And that's why we push so hard, not because we're being hard, but we want the absolute best for him. And so we are going to push him a little bit. So no, we're going to push him a lot, Ms. Minto.
I was just about to say the same thing. I appreciate everyone that's here, because Randall is that one child that I know y'all gonna love on regardless. So I see it, and I see a little bit of improvement. I haven't had any issues with him as far as school. I just want to know how I can help with the school in general, not just my child, but every child at the school.
Yes, ma'am. And Miss Mentor and I have talked about, she's going to be working on SIC. So she's going to be helping move some of those initiatives forward and try to get a cohort of parents who want to take on that charge of working to make the school better from the parental standpoint. And so when you come back again, I definitely want you to meet Ms. Argrove. She's our parent and family engagement specialist. But we're excited about the work that you have committed to do. Is that Miss Dancy? Is that Asia's mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and the work that you've already committed to doing too, Miss Nancy. So I'm excited about the two of them and the charge that they have agreed to take on. Any questions you may have, Miss Dancy, before we exit? Any concerns or questions? Because Miss Dancy is one of our magnet parents, so her daughter is zoned for another school. So we're happy that she joined us this year in our magnet. And so we just want to assure you as well that we're doing everything that we can. And our goal is to move that report card forward, and that we are doing the work.
Dr. Kushner, I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the students that are in the specialized services, is it a specific area that they need assistance with? Is it the reading? Is it the understanding, for the material that they're working on? Because I know you said you have some retired educators coming in, but it might be the stress of trying to learn something new that they've never seen before, or they've seen it and didn't understand it. So that's why I asked that question.
And so it's a combination of both. Some of our kids, and Miss James is on, who works really, really well with our kids. Some of our kids just need more time, a different strategy to be able to do it. Not that they can't do it. Additional time and additional strategy. Is Miss James, are you still on? And like I said, being in the general ed class and hearing the information coming from the content expert has proven to be very beneficial to us. And then being able to go back to a smaller group and then get some assistance on the items that they didn't understand has been beneficial to us.
I'm here, Dr. Coltrane.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm
Can the
doing
parent ask
well.
the question again? I missed the last part what she said.
Oh, no, I was just asking, is it the need of the student as far as for specialized services on whether or not they need the more one-on-one, or if they are not understanding the material? Is it that it seems like it's too big for them and they need it chunked in certain places for them to understand the material?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Yeah, a lot of them, because when they come to me, because I do resource, so I try to work one-on-one with them during our class time, and sometimes I have them during lunch period as well. So yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions you may have? Miss Emma, anything you want to chime in? Are you good?
I'm enjoying this. Thank you. I love the statistics and the charts, and I'm glad we could take two approaches. One approach was just throw our hands up and walk away, and another approach is the one that you said, is that we all need to dig in and make it happen. So I'm excited and willing to help in whatever way we can engage the surrounding community of W.A. Perry.
And so I want to encourage you, parents, if you can encourage other parents, to come on, to join hands with us. Miss Emma, from the community standpoint, I want to say this, and I mean it sincerely. This is our school, and we've tried to take the approach that is our school. It is what we make it. We have to be a voice of our school and tell our story. We know what's happening here. We know the good things that's happening here. We know the things that we are doing here, and we have to keep putting those things out. And we ask the community to join hands with us and speak about the good things that we're doing here. Speak about the opportunities that we're affording the kids here. Come see us, but take this approach that we're in this together, and this is our community school, and we want it to be the best. We have high expectations, and when our kids come, we expect them to be young men and young women that we're preparing to go out into the world, but just asking that we all work together. I love money. I do. I love resources. But if you have anybody who has some time, it's nothing like human capacity. If you can be approved as a volunteer and give us some of your time, whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours a week, we need you in the school. We can find something for you to do. We can craft something to help us along this journey. So if you know anybody that's committed and say, hey, we're going to give W.A. Perry 2 hours a week, we'll take it. We'll take it. I promise you we'll take it. And so I want to thank the team who's on tonight. Thank you to my staff who's on tonight. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. And we appreciate the hard work that you do. It's American Education Week. And we want to thank them for their hard work that they do day in and out to support W.A. Perry Middle School.